Welcome to today's Top 10 Principles to Consider when Navigating Instructional Technology and Distance Education. My name is Thomas Vaughn, and I'm your host. Coming in at number 10 is be grounded in theory and collaborate. Imagine the amount of collaboration and theory-based scientific principles go into landing SpaceX onto that platform. We need, as practitioners, to know what has and what has not worked. Collaboration with others keeps you balanced and close to the current findings in the field. This is backed by the research of Simonson et al. In teaching and learning at a distance. The ninth thought principle is to be relevant. Although TMZ may not be the most ideal way to be relevant in the ITDE world, it still is important, as Maldino et al. Suggest, that we need to provide students guidance to tap into their resources, useful to the context of their learning. We live in an interconnected world. If we're not making or explaining connections, then we may lose them. The eighth top principle is to reflect and revise often. We must stop and check in on our own experiences as well as that of our students. Reflection allows for revisions to meet the needs of our students. The number 7 all-time ITDE guiding principle is to embrace social media. It has many advantages, from increasing your personal professional learning network to holding Twitter chats with students to check for understanding. It's become a cultural way of doing things. Grab Twitter by the beak and take control. Do you want technology to drive you, or do you want to drive technology? Coming in at number 6 is to not let technology drive your instruction. Technology changes very rapidly. Stick to the standards-based instruction and think of a lesson as a whole when asking yourself, how can I use technology to enhance the learning experience? In 5th place for ITDE guiding principles, it's to monitor learning progress. Just as this athlete is monitoring her progress and heart rate to know what needs to be done to get better at her distance running, it may be okay to be where we are, but it's not okay to stay where we are. When facilitating asynchronous instruction at a distance, you will need to remember how to access all learners. How well you design a course will greatly affect your ease in monitoring learning gains. The number 4 principle is to facilitate the learning. Even with teaching at a distance, we are responsible for facilitating the learning. Be purposeful in your questioning and interject appropriately and frequently. As John Hattie's meta-analysis of research shows, effective feedback practices have a high effect size ratio greater than 1 year's growth demonstrated by the learner.
My philosophy in life is don't regret anything you do, because in the end, it makes you who you are.
Number 3, know thy learner. Analyze their current status. Ask questions. Listen to who they are. Know more about their background. This all contributes to the social presence that we find in the community of inquiry theoretical framework. The runner-up to being the top guiding principle at number 2 is communicate, communicate, communicate. Even in the best of situations where communication is non-stop between multiple people, we must hold ourselves accountable to communicate with our students in an asynchronous environment. It is a must so that no one feels left in isolation, as suggested by Moore's theory of transactional distance.
Houston, we have a problem.
And the number 1 instructional technology and distance education principle is to be sure to assure. Many of the principles mentioned in the top 10 presentation can be addressed by following this model, as explained by Maldino et al. Analyze the learner. State the standards and objectives. Select strategies and resources. Utilize those resources. Require learner participation. And evaluate to revise. Well, that sums up ITDE's top 10 principles. Again, my name's Thomas Vaughn, and thank you for listening. And best of luck as you continue to focus, learn, evolve, become.